Hey friends, it's Terry from Uncle Terry's Beginner Guitar. Today is lesson 15 and we're going to talk about keys. What are keys in music? Let me just take a second first and say that these lessons are probably best for people who have been playing a little bit. You know the chords, you know some basic chords, you can play some songs, but you're just trying to get a little bit of theory to help you understand some things about your playing. And I think that's where these lessons fit in the best. Um, you'll be playing with people and somebody will suggest a song to play and someone will say, well, what key are we going to play that in? And you think, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to play in a certain key? Well, there are certain chords, families of chords, that just fit together. It just sounds right. And probably it's because that's the way we've always heard it. You know, here we are descendants of people who played music and mostly probably grew up in the Western classical music culture, you know, from Europe and passed into the New World. And we have a sort of a expectation of how music should sound and things that go together. And, you know, in some cultures, it might be completely different. The chords and notes that sound good together might be completely different in some other cultures. I'm not an ethnomusicologist and I don't know all the details of all those things. But I know that there are some chords that just sound right together, and we're going to learn today why that is and what makes certain chords sound good together. And when someone says, let's play that in the key of G, what does that mean? Well, let's just do a little example. There's classic blues songs. E is a common place to play blues songs because it just has a bluesy feel to it. So when you're playing a blues song, let's say you're playing your classic 12-bar blues song. Bar meaning measured, musical measures, and we'll talk some other time about measures in music and time signatures in music. But let's just say that classic 12-bar blues song, and in 4/4 time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now we went up to the A chord. We started in the E chord. Now we're going to go to B7, back to A, back to E. Turn around on the B7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. Back to E. See how that, it just sounds right. Now, why does that sound right? What is it about those chords played together that just sounds right? Sounds like a blues song. Well, it is because the chords that fit together in a key, and today we're going to stick to just the major chords. We're not going to get into minors and sevenths and things like that yet. The 1 chord is the root that you're starting out with. We'll call that 1. And then the next chord in the family is the 4th chord, that corresponds to the 4th note in the scale above the one you started with. So E, F, G, A. That would be 4. So we're playing the 4 chord, and then we're going back to the 1 chord. Now when we're playing B, that would be how many chords up from the root chord? Well, E, F, G, A, B. That would be the 5th chord up. The chord that corresponds to the 5th note in the E scale, and that would be B. So it's chords. If you count the chord you're starting with, we'll call it the root. The 4 chord would be A in the key of E. And the 5 chord would be B. So E, those just sound right together, right? It's a family, and they sound right together. So it's the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord. We'll talk another time about what's called the Nashville numbering system, where the chords in a song, if someone, a group, is trying to learn a song, are numbered where the root chord in the key that you're playing in is the 1 chord, like in the key of E, that would be E, and 4 would be the 4th chord, which would be A in the key of E, and the 5 chord would be B in the key of E. So 1, 4, 5. All right, so that is the key of E, and those 3 chords just sound right together. Now, let's talk about the key of G. G is a really common key to play in with acoustic steel string guitar, sitting around the campfire, playing songs, country, blues, folk, rock and roll, gospel. That G, C, and D are going to be very common chords that are played. And why is that? Well, the way that an acoustic guitar is tuned in standard tuning, G is a great chord because it's got all those open strings, and you get that nice jangly sound. Same with C, you got a lot of open strings there. So the key of G is a really common, and it also matches a lot of people's vocal range to sing in the key of G. So let's go through our 1, 4, 5 concept for the key of G. So in G, let's call it the root chord, number 1. G will be 1. What would be the 4th? Well, G, A, B, and C. C is the 4th note in the G scale, so the 4 chord would be C, and the 5 chord would just be the next one up from 4, and that would be D. So G, C, and D. So many songs you can play with 3 chords, the 1, 4, and 5. That'll take you a long way around the campfire and a lot of other situations too. So again, that's the 1 chord, G, A, B, C. C would be the 4 chord, and the next chord up, the 5 chord, would be D. So many songs. If we could sing an old cowboy song sitting around the campfire. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a cowpuncher riding alone. See those chords, G, C, and D, they just fit together. Now, let's talk about transposing songs from one key to another. Transposing means you move them from one key to another. And why would you ever want to do that? Well, let's say that your singer just isn't comfortable in that key. That's too low. If I was out walking one morning for pleasure. Your singer says, that's too low. Let's do it in A. So what does that mean? Well, that means we're going to take it up a whole step from G to A. That's a whole step. A half step would be G sharp or A flat, and a whole step would be A. So let's see how we could accommodate our singer to get the vocals up. Now, we could use this little cheater device that we call a capo, and we could put that on the second fret to go from the key of G to the key of A. Why the second fret? Because it's a whole step from G to A, and each fret is a half step, so it takes 2 frets to be a whole step. So to get to the key of A from G, you got to put your capo on 2. And then you play it just with your regular G, C, and D chord shapes, because the capo is holding down all the strings on the second fret. So now we're playing in the key of A in standard tuning, but it looks like G to us guitar players. So the singer might say, let's try that. And okay. If I was out walking one morning for pleasure. Okay, that's still a little bit low. So we can move the capo up. Well, let's pretend that we forgot our capo. And we're going to decide how are we going to play it in the key of A without the capo. So we know the song, the way we learned it is G, C. So let's play it in A. So we're going to transpose up to the key of A. So that's a whole step up from G. So our next chord is going to be a whole step up from whatever the next chord in the song is. So instead of C, if we go up a whole step, what does that give us? That gives us D. And then what would be the last chord if we're playing the key of G and it's a D chord and we're moving up to the key of A, a whole step up from D would be E. D, E flat, E. So in A, the key of A is the 1 chord, the 4 chord is D, A, B, C, D, D is 4, and then E would be 5. So if we don't have our capo around the campfire, then we could just play it in the key of A. Because the singer wants to go up a whole step. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a cowpuncher riding alone. Okay, and the singer says, well, I'd really like to go up a little bit higher. That's still a little bit low for me. And we don't have our capo, so what could we do? Well, we could do it in B flat. That would be up a half step. So we're going up from A to the key of B flat. That's a half step up. So we play our B flat instead of the A, because that's 1 half step up from A. And then it was a D was the next chord. So we'll have to go to E flat. And that's up here. And then the last chord, when we played it in A, was an E, and we're going up a half step. So that would be F, because there's no E sharp. So we're playing it in B flat. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure. And the singer says, yeah, that's better. But here we are with the guitar sitting around the campfire, and we're playing all all these bar chords, it's hurting our fingers, and we don't want to do that. So that's not a great key to play in on the guitar for us steel string acoustic players. We can do it, but probably not great. So let's try C. That might work for the singer. So what would be the progression for this song, Get Along Little Doggies, if we started in C? Well, what would be we got the 1 chord, the C chord. What would be the 4 chord for the key of C? C, D, E, F. That would be our 4 chord. And then what would be our 5 chord? Whole step up from that. G. Okay, let's try that. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a cowpuncher riding alone. Okay, that's getting there. How about let's just try the key of D. That'll take it up a little bit higher. Maybe the singer will like that a little bit better. So what would be our 1 chord is D. It's 1, 4, 5 for the key of D. What would be our 4 chord? D, E, F, and G. G would be our 4 chord. And then our 5 chord would be 1 up from G, 1 whole step, and that would be A. So that's our 1, 4, 5 in the key of D. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure, I spied a cowpuncher riding alone. Okay, so that's how we might play it. That's how we play it in the key of D. Now let's say the singer said, I like a little bluesier feel to it. That sounds a little jangly to me. Let's do a little bluesier. Let's do it in the key of E. We already talked about the 1, 4, 5 chords in the key of E. You got your E is the 1, the A is 4, and the B is 5. That's a little bluesier. It's got a little blues sound to it. As I was out walking one morning for pleasure, spied a cowpuncher riding along. So, changing keys, transposing from one key to another, there might be several reasons why you want to do that. We talked about to accommodate the singer's vocal range. That'd be a good reason. Let's say that you plan with, for some reason, someone's got a clarinet, and the clarinet is in B flat. Well, you might need to play your songs in the key of B flat on the guitar. I'd probably use a capo for that because B flat's a pain on the guitar. So that is a reason you might change keys. Another is that just some keys just have a different feel. They have a little more country or folky or jangly feel. That key of G, that's a little more jangly than the key of E. So it's the feel that you want to have, where it's comfortable singing. Those are the main reasons that you would want to change keys. Now, just to review, so a key is made up of chords that all sound good together and are very commonly used together in a song. And the main chords in a key, the 1, 4, and 5, are the first chord, the 4th chord that corresponds to the 4th note on that scale, and then the chord that corresponds to the 5 note in the scale. So 1, 4, 5. Now, let's don't get that confused with the notes that make up a major chord. That's the first, third, and fifth notes of the scale that make up a major chord. The G, the B, and the D, for example. But we're talking about the chords that make up a key, and that is 1, 4, and 5. Main 3 chords. So I hope that's helpful. Work on that. Play your songs in different keys. Try to transpose. Take your time. And that'll help you learn your way around the neck and learn your way around different keys. So I hope all are well. I hope that was helpful. Next time, we'll learn how to add minor chords to our keys and see where those fit in. So I hope all are well. Have a great day.